Part 1. Stop looking for labels. Start looking at behavior. One of the biggest mistakes people make when dating is becoming obsessed with labels. They spend hours trying to figure out whether someone is a narcissist, avoidant, toxic, manipulative, insecure, controlling, or emotionally unavailable. The problem is that most people aren't psychologists. And even if they were, a label doesn't tell you what to do. What matters is behavior. Let's say someone constantly criticizes you. Does it really matter what label we give them? Not really. The real question is, do you want to spend the rest of your life being criticized? Let's say someone ignores your concerns, refuses to communicate, and makes every disagreement feel impossible to solve. Again, does the label matter? Or does the behavior matter? This is why I tell people to stop obsessing over labels and start paying attention to patterns, because behavior is what affects your life, not labels. And that's where the trend method comes in. Instead of asking, "What is this person?" ask, "What does this person repeatedly do?" Everyone has bad days. Everyone gets frustrated. Everyone says something stupid once in a while. One event doesn't tell you much, the trend does. Here are a few behaviors I would pay attention to. Constant criticism. Nobody enjoys being corrected all the time. Maybe it's your driving. Maybe it's your cooking. Maybe it's how you dress. Maybe it's how you load the dishwasher. One complaint isn't a problem. A constant stream of complaints. If every interaction leaves you feeling like you're failing some impossible test, pay attention. Long lectures. This is a big one. A request takes seconds. A lecture can take 20 minutes. There's a huge difference between, "Hey, can you help me with this?" and "Let me explain everything you've done wrong for the last 20 minutes. If someone regularly turns small issues into long scolding sessions, that's worth noticing. Public humiliation. Healthy partners solve problems privately. They don't embarrass each other in front of friends, family, coworkers, or strangers. Everyone jokes around sometimes, but there's a difference between playful teasing and making someone the punchline. If someone regularly puts you down in front of others, pay attention. Remember, we're not looking for isolated incidents. We're looking for trends. In part 2, we'll cover more behaviors people should pay attention to and how to use the trend. Method to determine whether someone is actually compatible with you. Part 2, more behaviors worth tracking. In the last video, we talked about constant criticism, long lectures, and public humiliation. Today, let's look at a few more behaviors that often create problems in relationships. Remember, we're not looking for one bad day. We're looking for trends. Stonewalling. Every couple disagrees. The problem isn't disagreement. The problem is when one person refuses to deal with it. Stonewalling can look like ignoring messages, walking away from every discussion, refusing to talk about problems, pretending issues don't exist. Sometimes people need time to cool off, and that's perfectly reasonable. But if every difficult conversation gets shut down, eventually nothing gets solved. Double standards. Healthy relationships require consistency. Pay attention if the rules only seem to apply to one person. For example, they can flirt, but you can't. They can be late, but you're expected to be on time. They can make mistakes, but yours become major issues. Nobody is perfect. But healthy relationships shouldn't feel like one person is playing by a completely different set of rules. Moving the goalposts. This one is surprisingly common. You solve one problem, then another appears. Then another. Then another. Nothing is ever actually resolved. You apologize. That's not enough. You fix the behavior. That's not enough. You meet the expectation. Now there's a new expectation. Healthy relationships solve problems. Unhealthy relationships often recycle them. Accountability avoidance. One of the strongest indicators of future problems is someone who never takes responsibility. Nothing is ever their fault. Every mistake is blamed on their ex, their parents, their friends, their boss, society, you. Everyone makes mistakes. The question is whether they can admit it when they do. Respect for boundaries. Boundaries don't have to be controlling. They're simply limits. Pay attention to how someone reacts when you say, no. Do they respect it? Or do they pressure, guilt, argue, or punish you for it? The answer tells you a lot. Now here's the important part. The goal of tracking these behaviors isn't to change people. It's not to argue with them. It's not to confront them with a list of everything they've done wrong. In fact, doing that often makes people defensive. The purpose of the trend method is information. You're collecting information so you can decide whether this person is compatible with you. Because compatibility isn't determined by promises. It's determined by patterns. Anyone can say the right things. What matters is what they repeatedly do. In part 3, we'll build the actual trend sheet. Part 3, the trend sheet. Now that we've talked about the behaviors to watch for, let's talk about how to actually use the trend method. The first thing I want to make clear is this. The goal is not to change people. The goal is not to argue with people. The goal is not to prove you're right. The goal is information, because information helps you make better decisions. Get a piece of paper and write trend sheet. Then create a few categories. For example, respect, honesty, reliability, communication, accountability, boundaries, anger, flirting. You can add or remove categories depending on what's important to you. Now here's the important part. Don't score every little thing. Don't turn dating into an investigation. Don't sit across from someone at dinner grading them like a school teacher. Simply live your life. Go on dates. Have conversations. Get to know people. Then afterward, if something stands out, make a quick note. That's it. Maybe they were 30 minutes late. Maybe they handled a disagreement well. Maybe they accepted responsibility for a mistake. Maybe they flirted with other people in front of you. Just write down what happened. After a few weeks or a few months, go back and review your notes. This is where something interesting happens. Patterns begin to emerge. You may discover that someone is incredibly reliable. You may discover that someone avoids accountability. You may discover that someone is respectful most of the time, but struggles with anger. Or you may discover that what looked like a red flag was actually a one-time event. That's why I prefer trends over red flags. A red flag focuses on one moment. A trend focuses on repeated behavior. And repeated behavior is a much better predictor of the future. Now here's another mistake people make. They collect information and then try to use it to change the other person. Most of the time, that doesn't work. In fact, it often creates arguments and makes people defensive. The purpose of the trend sheet is not to fix people. The purpose is to determine compatibility. Because if someone repeatedly behaves in ways you don't like, there's a good chance this is simply who they are. And that's okay. Not everyone is compatible with everyone else. The goal isn't to find a perfect person. The goal is to find someone whose strengths, weaknesses, habits, and values fit well with your own. Remember, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for patterns. We're not looking for labels. We're looking for behavior, and we're not trying to control people. We're trying to make better decisions, because compatibility isn't determined by what people promise. It's determined by what they repeatedly do. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to Responsible Masculinity. And if you'd like to learn more, check out my book Fighting Cheating Culture on Amazon.